leading a frontal assault on the lies of the New World Order. It's Alex Jones.
Mark Dice is coming up live in about 6 minutes, but first, here is his key video report. Trump toys with the media.
President Trump was toying with the fake news networks again today, causing several of the clowns to almost cry afterwards and complain about the way that he's treating them. Here's what happened when the counterfeit news network's White House correspondent Jim Acosta asked his question, the same clown who Trump called fake news at a previous press conference.
The tone, Jim, if you look, the hatred, sometimes somebody gets, well, you look at your show that goes on at 10 o'clock in the evening. You just take a look at that show. That is a constant hit. The panel is almost always exclusive anti-Trump. The good news is he doesn't have good ratings, but the panel is almost exclusive anti-Trump. And the hatred and venom coming from his mouth, the hatred coming from other people on your network. Now, I will say this. I watch it. I see it. I'm amazed by it. And I just think you'd be a lot better off. I honestly do. The public gets it, you know. Look, when I go to rallies, they turn around, they start screaming at CNN. They want to throw their placards at CNN, you know. I think you would do much better by being different. But you just take a look. Take a look at some of your shows in the morning, in the evening. If a guest comes out and says something positive about me, it's brutal. Now, they'll take this news conference. I'm actually having a very good time, okay? But they'll take this news conference. Don't forget, that's the way I won. Remember, I used to give you a news conference every time I made a speech, which was like every day, okay? No, that's how I won. I won with news conference and probably speeches. I certainly didn't win by people listening to you people, that's for sure. But I'm having a good time. Tomorrow they will say, Donald Trump rants and raves at the press. I'm not ranting and raving. I'm just telling you, you know, you're dishonest people. But I'm not ranting and raving. I love this. I'm having a good time doing it. But tomorrow the headlines are going to be Donald Trump rants and raves. I'm not ranting and raving. Go ahead.
Just one more follow-up.
Should I let him have a little bit more? What do you think, Peter? Peter, should I let him have a little bit more? Sit down. Sit down.
Just because of the attack of fake news and attacking our network, I just want to ask you, sir.
I'm changing it from fake news, though.
Doesn't that undermine?
Very fake news.
I know, but aren't you?
Go ahead.
Real news, Mr. President. Real news.
Chuck Todd, the host of Meet the Press over on NBC, Nothing But Clowns, tweeted out, "This is not a laughing matter. I'm sorry. Delegitimizing the press is un-American. What about constantly comparing Donald Trump to Adolf Hitler, you idiots?" Like Jake Tapper, who tweeted this out after the press conference, Trump tells Jewish magazine reporter to sit down, but blames anti-Semitism on the other side. Yes, apparently it's anti-Semitic to tell a reporter to sit down when it's not their turn. Here's Shepard Smith, the future MSNBC host, who for some reason still over at Fox News, almost crying about the way Trump treated the press today.
You call us fake news and put us down like children for asking these questions on behalf of the American people is inconsequential. The people deserve that answer.
No, Shepard, you deserve to be fired. And he probably would have a long time ago, except Fox News is probably afraid that he would sue them for discrimination because he's gay. Let's check in with Jake Tapper over at the Clown News Network to see how he is responding to this hilarious press conference.
It was a wild press conference, and I think that, first of all, purportedly, the purpose of it was to introduce his new Secretary of Labor nominee, Alexander Acosta. He spent the first part of his remarks talking about accomplishments that he thought the media, the fake media, whatever he wants to call us, were not paying enough attention to. But then, instead of focusing on his accomplishments and offering an optimistic, positive view of what he's doing for this country, it was an airing of grievances. It was Festivus. It was someone complaints
being able to stand up to us when we just want to chain you down and beat you up.
It was wild, and I can't believe that there are Republicans. And
he was fighting back against us and not letting us run things.
That might play well with the 44% of the population that voted for the president.
No, it's now 55 in Cook polls. It's like 65 in reality, Dumbo.
That guy is not focused on me. I don't even know what he's focused on.
Wrong answer. Americans are watching this and thinking, finally, we have a president who speaks his mind and is calling out these scumbag mainstream media for the clowns that they are. I'm Mark Dice. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and check back here every day for new reports. We're getting close to 1 million subscribers, so thanks again, and stay tuned. New reports every day.
I love it.
So
we'll be back with Mark.
Soon.
We had a totally divided country for 8 years, and long before that, in all fairness to President Obama, long before President Obama, we have had a very divided. I didn't come along and divide this country. This country was seriously divided before I got here. We're going to work on it very hard. One of the questions that was asked, I thought was a very good question, was about the inner cities. I mean, that's part of it. But we're going to work on education. We're going to work on we're going to try and stop the crime. We have great law enforcement officials. We're going to try and stop crime. We're not going to try and stop. We're going to stop crime. But it's very important to me. But this isn't Donald Trump that divided a nation. We went 8 years with President Obama, and we went many years before President Obama. We lived in a divided nation. And I am going to try. I will do everything within my power to fix that.
Mark Dice is our guest. You know, I remember Mark Dice, I guess on the show like 10, 12 years ago, whatever, doing his work, media analyst, degrees in that, salesman as well, author. And I remember just telling him, man, I'm not being patronizing, I'm just saying this is an example of where I was right. I said, stop trying to have shows on national TV. They're always going to censor you. And he's had some shows on national TV and hosted some things. And I remember getting really depressed like 4 or 5 years ago about it. And getting mad at me about things or whatever. And I remember calling him and I said, you're one of the most talented people I know. If you'll just start doing stuff every day and just forget about trying to be a success, because I've been like this too. Everybody has. This is somebody trying to help somebody who's a little bit older than them. Not that I have all the answers. And I said, if you'll just do it, because I know you care, you'll be super successful because you're so smart and do a great job. But don't get mad at me for the fact that, you know, in some of our dealings, you've not had as much success as you'd like. And I don't mean to bring up personal stuff here on the air. It's just that I'm so proud of the fact that he's almost got 1 million subscribers on YouTube. And he's brought all these books back into print and has bestsellers and, you know, has done so much because look at Paul Watson. Paul Watson, I mean, I can tell you, almost reaches as many people as I do now. Okay. And I hope Paul gets way better than I do. See, here's the deal. I'm not in competition with other men that I be better than them at everything. I want to defeat people that are out to get us all. I'm in a total war against the New World Order. And I know we can beat them. And so I just wanted to take some time out and talk about Mark because, you know, Mark just, you know, he's branched out and he's doing these commentaries and these analysis that are just the best things out there. I mean, it's so, when you see something so good, so on spot, way better than what's on, you know, any mainstream media. And I don't just mean content-wise, but just wit-wise and everything. It's a good thing. And that's why I want to encourage other people, no matter what color you are or where you came from. You know, if you're an old man, you get your nephew or your grandson to put you on YouTube. Just sit out by the pond and talk about the world. The normal people speaking out in this whole internet village system is what will beat them because they're bringing the censorship now. They're admitting it. They're announcing it. It's getting bad. And that's why whether it's Drudge or, you know, whether it's Daily Caller or WorldNet Daily or Breitbart, I'm not in competition with Stephen Bannon. And I'm not going to talk about little discussions we've had. I think, I mean, I hope Breitbart gets 10 times bigger than InfoWars. In fact, I don't want to be the biggest thing out there. And after Drudge, you know, when it comes to multimedia, we're the biggest thing there is. 40, 50 million people a week conservatively. And folks, that's conservative. Some weeks, 90 plus million now. Okay. So you look at that responsibility. That's a big responsibility we've got. When you think about how evil these people are, it makes you better. Because then you think, I don't want to be like them. I want to be strong and true. I want to be a knight in shining armor. I really want to take these people on because they mean to break this country and this world once and for all. And Mark, of course, has all the famous videos, the hundreds of millions of views, showing dumbed-down lefties. I mean, that is bullied, dumbed-down people told they have no responsibility from birth, do whatever you want, just wander around. They're almost soulless, and we don't make fun of them for pleasure. We do it because they're so fallen, we're scared, but they only care about what peers think because they're bullied. They never get past age 5 in peer pressure, so you have to laugh at them because that's what they don't like. You ever have leftists come over to you in D.C. or wherever I'm at, and they'll go, like 20 of them will laugh at me, and I'm like, you think I'm in junior high, like where people are laughing at me and I care? Dude, by the time I was like 14, I wasn't dating high school girls no more. I wanted out of high school. When I was in middle school, I wanted in high school. I don't care what you think about me when you're in a loser cult that has nothing, that means nothing, that is nothing, and you want to make me a loser too? and you've been given a psychological virus by the globalists. I want to go to Mark. We just played his powerful new clip, analyzing this press conference yesterday that was bullies coming face to face with somebody, just calling them out, and they are in total and complete panic right now. So, Mark, just amazing to see where things are going. Again, your new video, reporters are absolutely panicking. Trump toys with reporters at press conference today. They're at markdice.com. And we've linked it up on INFOWARS.com. I want to just, in the brief time we have, talk about where you see the world today, but also how they're going to counter-strike back, and how do we mobilize and fight the billion Soros is putting in and Obama's organizing to really go next level and try to bully us physically into submission in the streets and at the colleges and the schools, but on cyberspace. I mean, I think we should really raise the alarm and really fight harder than we did even during the election, because that was a battle. The war's here.
Yeah, we've sort of stormed the city. We're inside the gates. The real battle has begun. And with the mainstream media being so desperate, we're seeing them, really almost their last breaths. And they're going to do everything they can to try to regain the foothold that they've had, which is why Facebook is rolling out their new censorship tools. Twitter has been doing it more and more incrementally. Announced some new tools now. They're trying to prevent people's tweets from showing up to those who don't follow them, so that it doesn't spread across platforms, so that you can't have your message seen by someone who's not in the same, someone who's outside of the same bubble as you. And Trump is right to be mocking the mainstream media. And he wasn't yelling at them. He wasn't screaming. He wasn't unhinged like all these phonies.
Because that's their tool. That's the key. Their tool is mocking at a junior high level. It doesn't get to us or him, but it gets to them.
And they should be mocked. CNN did a report. It was an investigation about whether Adele won the Grammy for Best Album this year over Beyonce because of the possible racist Grammy voters. That was a real headline on CNN. When I saw the tweet, I thought maybe this has to be like a parody Twitter account. But no, that's a real CNN story, is that they think that the beloved Beyonce, lost the Grammy because of white supremacists or the white privilege of Adele. And they're so crazy when we see...
Well, it's the same thing with the NFL. I mean, they said that was white supremacy because there was a few white players.
Yeah, they're upset about the supposed lack of diversity on the Patriots team, and that the Patriots win was symbolic of the white hegemony in this country. And they deserve to be mocked, and they're failing. And that's why my YouTube channel has almost 1 million subscribers. It's amazing, just sitting in my kitchen. I reach more people in most videos. The average
CNN show has 100,000 viewers. You reach millions every day.
And that's extended over their entire half-hour or hour show. So if you break down their segments into 3 or 4 or 5 minute segments, we're paralleling. My channel is paralleling CNN and MSNBC. Jake Tapper and I got into a Twitter beef months ago, and I just did a video about it, and almost 1 million people watched the video. More people watched my YouTube video analyzing Jake Tapper and I's beef on Twitter than actually watch.
That's right. And of course, they know they're nothing now. That's why they're really so pissed. So where do they go from here? It's not about, oh, my channel's big, your channel's big. We're not bragging. We're telling listeners their whole illusion is that, we don't get press passes. We're not real news when they're the fake stream news. You probably already heard that term. I just came up with myself, but found people were already using it. Any good ideas already out there usually. So I don't territorialize it. But fake stream news, isn't that the name? Because they're fake, but they're the mainstream. Then we associate the term fake with fake stream. I think that's the word.
And I can't wait for President Trump to call CNN the counterfeit news network or the clown news network. And we just have to keep sticking it to them. The CNN got so upset with people calling them fake news that they conducted a study to try to see if the term fake news was damaging their brand. And, of course, they did not.
That's why if people say fake news on there, even Bernie Sanders is a joke, they cut his feed. It's an order that if somebody says that, you cut their feed.
The mainstream media
They've already been destroyed. Their brand is already filled. Don't they get that?
No, they don't. We have a YouTuber, PewDiePie, who is the most popular YouTuber ever. 53, maybe 54 million subscribers.
And CNN fake news brought him down.
Yeah, a coordinated attack between the Wall Street Journal and other major media outlets tried to smear him as a white supremacist. We have tech magazines like Wired, which have been going political in the last year and a half, trying to bring down Trump with stories that have nothing to do with politics or tech or with tech whatsoever. They're just literally tech magazines, sports magazines, ESPN, Deadspin. All these non-political outlets are becoming political in stories that really have nothing to do with what their core readership is. And so the mainstream media trying to smear PewDiePie as a hero of white supremacists, that was a real headline on a
Wired. They just wanted to set the precedent to ban somebody who was #1 to test. Can we ban someone completely innocent, who I think puts out a bunch of crap drivel, but is certainly not even anywhere near racist? I mean, can we shoot down somebody who has tens of millions of kids watching him every day? We don't want that. We want to teach them how to be trannies and give blowjobs and commit suicide and hate themselves. We don't want them watching this guy. They were just jealous of him because he wasn't teaching them how to commit suicide. And so they said, how do we get the kids back with us learning how to commit suicide? So they banned him.
Yeah, I mean, you'll never see BuzzFeed have any of their videos censored or have the ads stripped. And for well over a year, even a year before it became common knowledge that YouTube was censoring ads, you know, us YouTubers in the alternative news community knew that this was happening, but it wasn't until a bigger YouTuber decided to talk about it or became aware of it that it started trending on social media. So we were a year ahead of the curve seeing the censorship, trying to strip ads from our channels because they don't want us to be able to be funded in order to do this. And that's one way at them trying to censor us.
Sure, and that's why I've been telling you, and you've been doing, people don't buy a lot of books, you know, put out a film, do whatever, have a coffee mug, whatever. People understand they're trying to strangle us. So you just say, hey, I got a couple products here. You can maybe give a coffee mug to somebody. They'll tune into the show, you know, $10. I make $5. I need your support if I'm going to do this. People get that. They want to support you. So I've just been saying for years, get some swag, you know, because people want to support you. I want to see you with a whole operation. I want to see you, you know, rivaling INFOWARS.
You know, it's been really amazing, and it just goes to show that with dedication and hard work and with a mission, you can become an incredible success. And there was a time where I thought, oh, you know, nobody's watching my videos. Oh,
no, I remember talking to you like 4 years ago, and I'm not trying to brag about this, but was my pep talk not right?
Yeah, it was great, man. And, you know, you've been a great inspiration for me, and you've paved the path. It's been amazing to watch your career expand and really.
But I don't want to get into me. I want to talk about you because you're the kind of a prodigal son for a little while. And I'm just saying, you know, it's good to set an example of not being, you know, kind of a chicken, you know what, on my end, if, you know, turn on the other cheek. But that's all the Bible. There's times to do it, times to not. But I'm not bragging about what I did. I just really value you in the fight against the globalists. We need you. And I'm just glad you got out of that. For other people that get into infighting and that virus they try to push on trolling on the web against ourselves, we've got to get through that because people think that's the path of success when you don't have immediate, you know, success to take care of yourself, which you're doing this because you love the truth, but you need to be able to take care of yourself, you know. And so I get it. But I was just saying, truly be yourself. Quit trying to have a show on national TV. You will be huge. You did it, and you went from huge to gigantic. So I'm just saying, your testimony to other people out there about the path to real success fighting tyranny.
You know, when I had meetings with, I literally had a meeting with CNN.
No, they called you in and said, we want you to pledge to Satan. No, I've been there when I was 14. I know. So they tell them, they call you and they say, we want you to worship Satan and be part of the group. No, I get it. Tell folks about that.
Well, a couple years ago, I had meetings with most of the major networks about, you know, hosting a show, an investigative, you know, kind of conspiracy type of a show. And one of the heads of one of the major studios, I mean, we got into a spiritual discussion, and he did overtly indicate that he liked Satan. He thought Satan was the savior. And I'm sitting there, they're so surreal. The Hollywood sign is literally right out the window in his office. Just, you could see it off in the back. It was so bizarre. And I had a meeting with CNN, and later on the studio started telling me, and of course I never would have went to work with them. I even told the studio, which is, for those who don't know, studios are independent companies that produce shows for networks and then sell them to networks. So CNN didn't really know what they were getting into. It was just a meeting with another studio pitching a show to their network. So I went there. And it was so bizarre. I only went because I wanted to be able to laugh at it. And I took pictures in the boardroom with CNN etched into the walls, into the windows. And this is in Hollywood. Now, for those people you would expect CNN.
By the way, this was after you woke up to the fact that you before you weren't like wanting to be part of it. You were just investigating it, and it was kind of a bummer. But because I remember this was after you'd already totally didn't want to be with them. You just went because it was interesting. And again, Fox News does this. They have thousands of people on retainer to be analysts, but only to control them and not have them on air. It's the same thing. Hollywood has these constant meetings just to keep artists in Hollywood not competing with them, and they call it a tithe. They go, let's go to this tithe meeting with these people to steal your ideas and then never give you anything and then never make you successful. But so you stay there and don't create your own art elsewhere. See, it's all a very warred out plan. Go ahead.
And how interesting is it, for those who don't know, that CNN has probably a 12-story building in Hollywood. I'm talking about 2 blocks away from Hollywood Boulevard. So you would expect CNN to be in New York or in Atlanta, Washington, D.C. They have I would estimate a huge 12.
Well, it's really a branch of the CIA that's been declassified, so they're there to write scripts for Hollywood. That's really what's going on in most of those rooms, but go ahead.
And the old media, the mainstream media, I mean, they're really at a loss because the technology that we have is so inexpensive and so powerful that someone like me or someone like PewDiePie, who produces, idiotic, mindless entertainment for kids and, teenagers, are able to, with a very small budget, virtually nothing, produce content that is seen by millions and hundreds of millions of people. They don't know what to do. And so, even the producer that I was working with, he's trying to get into the YouTube space now because he doesn't even want to waste his time putting together a show that might get seen by 500,000 or 1 million people on a major network when you can just sit in your kitchen and produce content. And that's why they're trying to bring down PewDiePie. They're trying to bring down me. The New York Times just did a hit piece, an entire article almost entirely dedicated to me about fake news. And I've seen the London Guardian.
No, and I mean, what you do is commentary, I was all over the news last week. Alex Jones said the performance was satanic. Well, it was clearly authoritarian satanic. She wears Hitler outfits, at other events. Most of the Super Bowls are satanic. They're like, oh, they're crazy. It's not satanic, thinking their audience is idiotic. Everybody knows the Grammys and, the Emmys and just it's all satanic.
I mean, it's quite clear that that's the core of liberalism is godlessness or Satanism. I mean, quite literally, they openly
Hillary's pen pal and her mentor she met with, pledged his book to Lucifer and his love of Luciferianism. Saul Alinsky. They just look. I've been there. I've been at the mansions. I've been there, and they go, yes, we worship Lucifer. It's the real God. Join us. You can have all these women and all the power. And people don't know until you get successful. Well, they saw me before that and wanted me, but when you get successful, they come. And people just don't understand this. Go ahead.
And that's why Kanye West had his, supposed mental breakdown where he started ranting and raving at one of his
the Illuminati and devil worship, yeah.
The news, he said the news is all censored. Google is censored. I mean, they're now, because of the election loss of Hillary, they're rolling out all of the stuff that they've been testing. They're getting ready to implement it. So that if you just simply Google things...
Oh, yeah, they're shaking. They're shaking. And they're going to bring the censorship in when they kill Trump. So they're lining up like about to start World War II. The armies are lining up right now, folks. But we got to have maximum alert. But in the time we have, I mean, are you not overall, though, optimistic and positive that nationalism and the awakening is huge? And I mean, so the more they use AI and manipulation on us, which they admit they're doing, the more it just accelerates those of us that are awake. Those that follow the programming, it's very sad. But, they were the weak ones. And we try to help them. We don't abuse the weak ones. It's just sad we can't get too obsessed and triage, when people fall to this. When people die before they physically die, we mourn their death, but they're no longer alive. They're just zombies.
We're seeing a massive resurgence of conservatism because you have a lot of the Generation Z kids who have been growing up watching this insane censorship of people telling them that they can't wear certain Halloween costumes, they can't say certain things, they can't like a certain political candidate that half of the country likes. And they're starting to put the pieces of the puzzle together. And so we're seeing a huge resurgence of conservatism amongst the younger generations. And a lot of them are taken to YouTube. A lot of them are going to be the future, conservative YouTube stars. And it is very exciting. And the battle's really just getting started. But the left is getting so desperate that we have to just continue to mock them because I think...
That's right, though. But we have a tendency to not be victims, to not complain. We're all being censored and blocked. Trump doesn't get positive comments in his Twitter, so the public can't even communicate with him. You have to, pose as an enemy, with almost code words to even get up there to talk to him. So I mean, sometimes Trump just calls folks off Twitter, folks. He's amazing. He loves the average people. Growing up with his dad, they barbecue and stuff with the workers every day, and they hung out with the guys. He's got street smarts. I mean, he's like the blue-collar billionaire, and that's why they hate him. He really likes people, and the globalists have nothing but disdain because they haven't been in the streets like Trump has. But I've invited you before. You're so busy. I'll fly you out here. You can co-host for a couple days. I'm not trying to get somebody to fill in for me. I got plenty of hosts. But I'd love for you to come out here, Mark, and we're going to launch more stuff soon. I'd love for you to have your own daily show here if you wanted to do it. I'll just say that on air. We got a lot of things we're planning that we're not here, being interrupted by me every 10 seconds. So let's just get this done because you were talking about some ideas I heard, with Nico. We'll just come here, come on air. We'll fly out here and, get you involved somehow with what we're doing because we really appreciate your work and where this is going. But I got to tell you, I'm really glad we all bet on Trump because you can really see he's the real deal.
Hasn't let us down yet, and it's going to be a really exciting ride. Every day he's continuing to keep his promises, and it's hilarious to see the left completely fall apart and collapse. They have no argument, which is why they're getting crazy and they're getting violent. And
you know what? I got to hold you over. Can you do 5 more minutes? Because I just forgot something. You started calling yourself the Resistance. I mean, I'd called it that too, but you branded it as that kind of a Terminator deal. If you're listening to this, you're the Resistance. That's good. I'll say that too. I've been saying that for like 15 years, whatever, 10 years. I forget. But they're now saying we're the Resistance. We're the Resistance. The big corporate media, the Saudi Arabians, the Chinese, the EU, the mega banks. They're all the whole media attacking Trump and us, and they're the Resistance. So you're the guy that first really started using that. I want to ask you when we come back, Mark Dice, markdice.com, and people say, oh, that's just his website. We go to his YouTube or Facebook. He doesn't control it. They can take it away at any time. Go to his website. Get on his email list. Us too. Just again, I'm going to talk about that too when we come back. Because how do we really get folks to truly come together so they can't censor us? I've got a plan. I want to hear what Mark thinks. The big church folks will say, oh my gosh, that's so devilish. What are you doing playing that song? Because I like how it sounds. I admit I'm worldly. I love God. I go protest abortions clinics. I stand up against evil. I risk my life. But then I'm not perfect. And the point is, there's something honest about people singing and saying what they're really thinking. Instead of all these fakes that tell you how good they are all day, and they're the ones that are molesting kids behind the scenes. I'm here to tell you. It's like, I love how Trump played rock and roll yesterday when he came out of the press conference. The media was like, what on earth is this? It's like, I don't care. I feel like doing this because it'll freak you out. Because he's all about the confidence he has and the fact that he's not out to get anybody, but you're not going to run him over. And he looks at what they've done to America and all these elites. He's like, this is really bad to not build an economy where the people have success, where the people have any type of honor. But I wanted to ask Mark Dice here before he leaves us. I think I even forget the question, but I'm sure he remembers. It was basically, how do we defeat their attempts at censorship? How do we make a big deal about Trump's Twitter even being censored? And there were some other questions I was asking him, but I'm teleprompter free. I didn't write notes, but what the question was, I'm sure, again, he'll remember. But I don't make a big deal out of the fact that, if you don't go to sign up at INFOWARS.com/newsletter, when they start shutting stuff more down, I wish I'd have set up the last 20 years email so I could send you videos, articles, and bypass them. I never wanted to do it, never dealt with it till like a few years ago. And we've only got like 1 million emails. That sounds like a lot. We reached billions and billions and billions and billions and billions and billions of people. I mean, we've reached like probably 3 billion people total, probably 6-7 billion views on YouTube now. It was like 5 billion a few years ago total. YouTube told us, they said, we want to monetize all this. They sent us stuff. We had to do non-disclosures, all that kind of stuff. But they got the real analytics, and they're like, we want to monetize this. You got over 5 billion views. And I said, I don't want to shut all those channels down and do all that. And I said they could have it. So I'm just not going to do it. But we can monetize a few of ours, But again, I knew they could take it away at any time. So it funds a fraction of what we do. But if we don't have your email, we can't send you 50% off on a product or a key video or a breaking alert. Same thing with Dice. I see him all over the news. He never even says markdice.com. Drudge is right. When he came here, only interview he's done in like 4 years. And he said, you got to get out of these internet ghettos and have your own thing. Because then the web becomes about websites again, not just Facebook, Twitter, and Google, who can control you, and Apple systems that block Joe Rogan's podcast for a few days and then won't list it as the all-time podcast of all time. Like, I'm going to call Joe. He wants me to come back on. Maybe Mark Dice should come on with me for 4 hours. That would be a great interview. Because I just want to promote other cool people in the fight, because there's also safety in that. And I'm not a coward. But the thing is, again, I want to stress this. I'm not in competition with other patriots. I'm in competition with globalists that want to destroy competition. I'm in competition against monopolies. And so I just keep saying that because the people I respect most are like people like Matt Drudge, who literally has given Promethean fire to hundreds of websites and groups and organizations, because I know the behind-the-scenes traffic info. Most of these places wouldn't exist if it wasn't for Matt Drudge. So people say, why do you go back to Matt Drudge so much? Because the guy is an unbelievable angel. I mean, he's just like that prime mover. Like Drudge is right up there in the compendium. Trump's done more in 2 years than Drudge has done the last 5. But if you go back 20 years with Drudge and his evolution, it's like Drudge is the key to so much. I mean, Breitbart was created. All of it. It was all spawned out of him. I was on air right at the same time as him, was on another track, but it influenced me. But it's like that wave. He kind of came at the same time, him a little bit before me. And it's just, there's that kinship of being in that same, wave. He was like, 100 yards ahead of me. And it's just like, it's all about winning against them. It's not about, and again, I'm competitive. I'm all about free market, but they say they're collectivists all day, but then they actually want to destroy the individual. I'm an individual, but together we create collective dreams of what works best through our individual decisions. They claim they're collectivists and about the individual through collectivism. They want to end the individual. I want to empower the individual through individual action, but together then it comes together and creates a beautiful tapestry of the collective. So I'm the ultimate collectivist. The ultimate collectivism is pure individualism. Now, going back to Mark here, who again has a lot of his own points. I'm going to try to shut for about 5 minutes. Just about gestalts. How do we defeat them? What do we do? We don't bitch. We're not victims. But it's rock and roll. It's Sex Pistols. It's counterculture, but not fake globalist counterculture that they had was anti-Christian. It's real counterculture that they're blocking us, attacking us, saying we're the enemy, saying shut us down. I mean, this is sick. I mean, we should be 50 times bigger, quite frankly, that they're having FCC meetings about shutting Drudge down or having the communist Chinese, quote, help Zuckerberg shut us down. This is sensational. So comments on that, where we go, what we do, Mark Dice.
We need to go back to the fundamentals of bookmarking websites that we like to go to instead of just relying on the Facebook feeds, because as we know, and we need to just continue to repeat these issues because we got a lot of new people
every segment
that they censor everything that's posted on Facebook. I mean, I see people uploading my videos on their Facebook page, which is a free boot, copyright infringement, and it'll get 5-7 million views. On my own video, my own page, it'll get 50,000. And so they're obviously censoring. They don't want certain material to go viral. And it's kind of common sense once you become aware of it. But for your average Joe who just works a 9 to 5 and maybe a part-time job trying to get some extra money, they come home, they're scanning through their Facebook feeds thinking that they're going to be getting the news from the pages that they're following. They're not going to. And these new censorship tools just rolled out on Twitter where if you use certain words, they're hiding your tweets from anyone except for your followers because they don't want it to be retweeted.
But we can hijack resistance because they've hijacked it from us. Now I wanted to talk, that's what I want to talk about because they've now hijacked that. You can be smart and use words that they're using, but then hijack them. Just get around the AI. It counts on you being stupid. So use their terms and say, look at these right-wing filth. And then you get out and they're actually coming to the truth.
Your website's INFOWARS. There's hashtag wars, which are going on Twitter, where people will hijack a hashtag. We'll see some liberals whining about a certain issue or spewing their disinformation, and then we'll see a flood of conservatives using that hashtag in a very creative way or a certain phrase that's trending in order to get their tweets to try to show up. And so that's part of the reason they're rolling out the censorship tools is they don't want the merger of those two different worlds because they don't want people to see
That's right.
the opposing
That's key.
views.
Repeat that. Google admits for a decade their plan is compartmentalization, keeping us all in our own little niches, thinking we're winning, but never letting us out of them. The key is going and engaging liberals. I had a New York Times photographer here, a freelancer, and I said, well, if you're a good photographer, give me your card. We need some photographers to do jobs. She goes, well, do you pay money? And she was being real nice until then. And I went, yeah, of course she goes, well, I basically probably can't because, I can't be involved with people like you. And I was just like, man, that's a cult. And she was like kind of going on a power trip. And I went, you understand I can get all the photographers I want. I was reaching out to you as a human. You were doing this whole fake act. You were missing nicey pants. And then when we got down to rubber meets the road, you're just here for you. Your boss has sent you in here. I'm not stupid. See, I'm a human. And Trump shutting down the plan to shut down the rest of the coal power plants is going to help poor people. So you think about that. Go ahead.
This is why so many of the liberals thought that it was going to be an easy win for Hillary because they were in their own little echo chambers. And, of course, one of the major reasons the polls were wrong is because they had bullied people into being afraid to express themselves, not only online, but perhaps in person or on the phone. If a pollster were to call, they have family members.
And they were also oversampling.
Yeah, and they were trying to create a self-fulfilling prophecy, trying to make people believe that Hillary was going to win, so why go out and even waste your vote, or people not wanting to vote for a supposed loser. And, that's part of the reason why my YouTube channel has been so successful is because I just keep pointing out their fake news, and it's backfired on them. They've admitted it. The Washington Post, which is really Washington Compost, which coined the term fake news and publicized it, their article was fake news. And they've even admitted that it has backfired. And so they can't really do anything.
In fact, the New York Times said, we wish we wouldn't have created the term fake news. Well, we had a guest on 15 years ago who calls it fake news, John Rappaport. He now works with INFOWARS. It's nomorefakenews.com. I mean, you're the fake news, but listen, think about the branding. I love your clown stream. All that's great. I've been looking for years the term. We have to do it where it brands fake news to them. They're called mainstream or lamestream. We need to call them the fake stream with a hashtag. I don't know how all that works. You're better than that than I am. Paul's better than that. The listeners are better. I can't know all this stuff. How do we get fake stream? Next time I talk to Trump, if he calls, I'm gonna say that. But separately, look at this though, because look, I knew about this when he got in the White House back on the 20th. I was told about it, and I'm just gonna leave it at that you could call a number, a direct one into his office. I mean, I still have it. I shouldn't even said that part. Anyways, and then he also sits there at the main switchboard with stuff flashing up, calls every millisecond, looking at numbers, and then he randomly picks it up and talks to people because he really likes him and his dad were just addicted to talking to people in the streets. They're like blue collar. And he just loves that feedback. He hates fake people. And the media learned about this. So the New York Times and others, and I've had New York Times talking to me and talking to other people, and they're like, I bring that, and they go, well, don't tell anybody about that. Everybody will know about it because they know. But that's what we do. It's like you can call the White House switchboard, and if the president's there, he's sitting there for off and on while he does stuff at night, drinking a Coke. I guess that's his guilty pleasure. And he'll pick up the phone and talk to you. I mean, it's just, and he really wants to hear just random calls. People disagree, they agree, and no one knows that. I mean, how cool is that?
Part of the reason I started to like Trump is because instead of just watching the 5-second sound bites that the mainstream media would highlight about his daily rallies during the campaign, is I would watch the actual rally. And thank God there were channels out there and people that would record
right side broadcasting
and live stream the entire event. So instead of watching an hour and a half of mindless television or logging on to Netflix and wasting your time, you could watch his entire speeches, and they were all just off the top of his head. It was just incredible. You could see and hear he was speaking from the heart. And even in the end of 2015, I mean, when the early phases of the campaign, I started noticing the massive lies being spread, and my channel.
And we got the WikiLeaks. They admittedly sent the people there to try to get women beat up so they could blame him. But, I mean, that's what I'm getting at here, and that's why this Twitter is so important. Trump craves going to his Twitter feed and reading what real people send him and what they do. He loves, and they've taken the phone away, threatening national security, and it'll get hacked, sir, and there's Russian ships off the coast and all this stuff. And so now he's got that switchboard. But that's the thing. Now they know that, so they're feeding him. They're doing it to us too. Nothing but negative comments, hoping to demoralize him. So the next time I talk to him, I'll say, sir, did you know they want to take your Twitter away, and they admittedly are feeding only people that hate you to the top? They've hijacked your Twitter. Please talk about it. I mean, this just shows how I'm not that technical, but I recognize it's going on. The techies confirm it's happening. So we have to help the president. He's so real. Just one guy up there surrounded by enemies that everybody has to hit him on Twitter, Facebook, at rallies. Sir, they're only letting you see the negative comments. We love you. We have to let him know because the oxygen he has is that he loves the people.
And I think since his kids are in their 30s, his son-in-law is in his 30s as well, very tech savvy. Jared Kushner, obviously largely credited with helping him surge through his knowledge of social media. And so he is getting this information, even if his analysts are not going to be feeding him the info. He has his family, which sort of grew up with the emergence of social media, were able to give him this information, which obviously they're in a sense advisors. And so that's why the deep state, these sort of Obama insiders, are trying to bring him down from within. So we, in a sense, have an army of evil Edward Snowdens who are deep within the NSA and other government entities that are trying to bring him down by committing crimes, committing serious felonies, by leaking classified information and really misconstruing what that information is to the reporters. And by the time it gets spread around, they'll issue maybe a small retraction. I think it's been 3 times just in the last month that major mainstream media outlets have had to issue retractions by trying to defame me, by accusing me of being an alt-right commentator.
And that's because you're holding them to task. They do it. I'm so busy I can't even do it. I agree with you. I should have a whole office, people that just make them retract, because it's a powerful tool to make them do that. The thing is, they're such liars, though, that people know it, so it doesn't even really hurt me. I mean, that's how out of gas they are. In closing, Mark, it hit me last night, and I meant to make the point today, so I'm going to make it now, that this is the total dichotomy. Obama admittedly went on vacation 4.5 months a year, more than even George W., who was horrible on going on vacations. Trump works until like 10, 11, 12 at night, even when he's, quote, on vacation. Might play golf, once a week when he's on vacation. Amazing. It's just the truth. I hate to gush. It's just, my God, it's true. And here's a guy that so craves people, who's so in love with people. Like, he's in love with beautiful women and his kids and all of it. He loves life. That's the thing. He's just like alive, strong force, and wants to build things. This is the human spirit. We all have it. It's just strong in Trump. Force is strong with this one. And compare that to them. The elites are all the public scum. They know nothing and trying to make us poor, and the WikiLeaks and Cloward and Pivot, and Africans can't have air conditioning or cars or a house. But I mean, and Obama's telling them just all that, like the creepy, like shrunken, starving to death, emaciated New World Order zombie system who thinks Generation Z are zombies. No, they're not. And the fact that they're the ones fastest awakening, it's a fact that now, like, half our traffic's below the age of 18. The elite would kill for that. I want adults to do something and change it. But you know what? If they want to not listen, it's fine. We've got the youth. And so that's why this is so powerful. But here's Trump on fire for hours, answering phones, talking to people calling the White House. I mean, I'm strong, and I've got a lot of will, and I want to talk to the public, but I couldn't do that. So what does that say about his psychology? And this is big news I'm breaking here, folks. They don't even want this information out. Because I'm telling you, now everybody knows this, it's going to be even harder to get into the president. I mean, I've sat there, ring, 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 and it's like, collect. It's like, oh, I mean, it's crazy. Not just getting calls from him, because they took his cell phone away. This is epic stuff. And I've never heard of anything like this. I mean, it's like he knows it's BS, and he needs that connection to the people, and the vampires are all around him. He needs to get to real people. This is biblical, Mark Dice.
It is. I believe that he's an agent of the Lord that is shaking the corrupt system. We were right on the edge of no return, the point of no return. And that's why these liberal establishment elitists over at CNN, the Clown News Network, the Counterfeit News Network, and NBC, Nothing But Crap, Chuck Todd, and all these mainstream leftists, they don't even understand it, or they're really dumbfounded after Trump.
Well, he said in the national inauguration speech, he said, "It's you. You're the people. You're humanity. You're the power." He goes, "It's you. Wake up." He's saying, "Wake up." Trump, and then he's not some arrogant guy at 1 a.m. He's not in there with his supermodel wife. He's talking to you.
Trump and his whole family are the kind of people that you could hang out with at a backyard barbecue around a bonfire and just have a good time. Whereas it would be miserable to be around someone like the Obama.
Oh, they admit the Clintons and all of them are just miserable. God bless you, Mark Dice. MarkDice.com. Thank you so much. Hey, promise me you'll come in the next few weeks to Austin.
Pretty busy. We can talk about it, but
oh my God, I've been telling you. Okay, whatever, man. One of my biggest frustrations is that I tend to not go to your phone calls. We have so many clips and guests, but I'm going to really work on it next week and ask the producers to stay on me about taking your calls, because sometimes it's so amazing to take your phone calls. Just a little bit of funding. We got great fluoride-free made in America toothpaste, organic, high quality, non-GMO. It's got peppermint and tea tree oil, but really it's got colloidal silver and the Nation iodine. Nobody's got that. It's made by the biggest manufacturer out there, but we have our proprietary blend with that added. That's available. Super Blue at InfoWarsStore.com or InfoWarsLife.com. And you can sign up for auto ship, get 10% off. You can also, any order above $50 is free shipping. InfoWarsStore.com or 888-253-3139. And we now have the Victory Series 1. President Donald J. Trump, Tennessee Arms, 80% lowers for your M4s, or what you call AR-15s. And it's got laser scan on the side, 1 of 1,000. I've got 1 of 1,000 right here. We've got an image of that we can play, of 1776 reborn, 45th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, January 20th, 2017, commemorative. We're going to sell 1,000 of these, whether it takes a week or a year, and then that is it for that design. And this is something everybody should have. This is the best company that makes them. It can do 3,000 to 6,000, depending on the test they've done. It's got the brass inserts that are patented. This is the company, InfoWarsStore.com. I have the ATF letter there. It's all completely legal. And this just went up today, so there's no reviews yet. But you can see the 5-star reviews of the other lowers. And it comes in the whole stencil, so you yourself can do it, or a machinist very inexpensively ready. Finish the 20% in just a matter of minutes. InfoWarsStore.com, and have a key part to your own rifle that is yours and private. So absolutely amazing, InfoWarsStore.com. Also, here today, Solutions from Science has the next generation of PPX model available. This new model, 60% more power. You can charge or run most of your electronic devices. It can jumpstart 10 buses in a row. Solutions from Science PPX allows you to create your own private power grid at your home or even a remote location. Go to privatepowergrid.com. That's privatepowergrid.com. If you do buy one right now, you can use promo code ALEX at the checkout, and they'll give you a second energy unit free. And it's a really good price, the price it is. So getting the second one free is just a true super discount down to almost no profit. So that's a great little portable charger system, a lot of other great stuff at privatepowergrid.com, one of our sponsors. So be sure and check that out. We have the new caveman, paleo, bone broth, you name it, system. It's got a whole bunch of other key ingredients in it that this is like, in my view, 100 times even more powerful than whey or all that kind of stuff. This is the next level. Alfalfa herb powder, changa mushroom powder, bee pollen, turmeric is the key to accelerate all of it, get it into the cells, and so much more. Chicken broth powder, protein, multi-collagen complex, hydrogenated collagen, chicken collagen. And the key is this stuff hasn't been heated up, so it's just been frozen and desiccated and the rest of it, so you get real delivery. What's in the bones is the stem cells, folks. Just give a little news flash. So InfoWarsLife.com, the ancients knew about this. And this is one reason people were so strong and so virile before, was that the bones were what they ground up and put in the bread. As I've said, fee, fi, fo, fum, I smell the blood of an Englishman. Be he live or be he dead, I'll grind his bones to make my bread. And we need to get those bones ground up, don't we? Those little bloody pieces in there that give it that taste. And it's time to do that again. And Caveman Paleo Formula, now available at InfoWarsLife.com. Please support our local affiliates as well. Become a sponsor, support the sponsors. Let them know you're supporting them. That's key. No money in that, calling them up and thanking them. Or send $100 to the station in your area. They're just as important as we are. You're just as important as all of us together. And that's not rhetoric. That's truth. We have a beachhead. We're turning the electricity grid back on. We're lowering prices as the globalists try to create inflation and stop the Trump agenda. I'll talk about that when we come back in 70 seconds with David Knight. Hour number 4, straight ahead.
Visit GCNlive.com.
Spread the website. They're trying to block it. I need to talk more about that.